Okay, the first technique I'm going to show you is called slip painting. And slip painting is basically just what it sounds like. We're going to take some slip, I got some blue here, and we're just going to paint it on our clay. When is a good time to apply colored slip? I always encourage students to apply it as soon as you possibly can. Plastic would be great, but that's not always possible. Early leather hard, almost like plastic leather hard. At any point past that, we know that we're breaking the rule of join light clay to light clay. You cannot join very wet clay onto very dry clay. So if you try this technique on a piece that's anywhere past leather hard, you're done. It's going to flake off, it's going to be a nightmare. So make sure that it's early leather hard or plastic to apply your colored slip. These containers, you really need to stir it up. I would say shake it really well, but we've had a couple of accidents where people have not secured the lid as much as they probably should have, and they shook it and it went all over the place. I still think shaking it is probably the best way to mix it up. You just have to make sure you get all the chunks out of it. So I have a brush, and in this area right here, I'm just going to paint a little bit with the blue. And you can see it's a very strong and vibrant color. It doesn't have to be very thick. It's pretty opaque. So you're going to end up covering the gray color of the clay. Now these colored slips are going to come out pretty much the way that you see them. They'll be a little bit darker. They're not a glaze. So make sure that you don't mistake them for glaze. They are clay. And we'll talk more about that in later videos. What's really cool about these is that you can actually use these one over another. So I've got my titanium here. Make sure all these clips are on. The titanium is yellow, by the way. Make sure all those clips are on. Really shake it up. Don't do it over your piece like I just did, because you dust all the flakes onto your work, which isn't good. Carefully take the lid off, and I can paint right over the surface. Now it is important that you don't mix the colors. So once I've got a bunch of blue on my brush, I want to wash that brush off before I go to dip back into the yellow. Otherwise we're going to contaminate it. Speaking of which, once you have colored slip on your piece, the last place we want it to go, where's the last place we want it to go? Is in our reclaim. We do not want any colors to go in here. That would be bad, because eventually our clay would become this color. So after a piece has dried and it's got colored slip on it, or even if it's not dry and you can't really scrape it all off, this is where it goes. Alright, it goes in the garbage. So don't let that happen. But colored slip, have some fun. Paint with it. It's one of the things that requires very little training, and you can get some really beautiful results if you combine multiple colors in slip. Okay? So that's part one, colored slip painting.